You're turning your back on your people.
I listened to as much as I got. Did you just do a black scent? Hey, shout out to all of the subscribers and members here on the channel. Don't forget to like and share the video if you can. My name is Reese Waters, and this is Racist of the Week. This is where we explore the stupidity and hypocrisy of discrimination in hopes we can build a more perfect union. And also laugh. As usual, I would like to thank today's sponsor, Racism. And of course, if you have any nominees, you can throw them in the comments. You can email me at admin@reesewaters.com. Now, we, in part one, we already outlined the core tenets of the black fatigue argument.
Black fatigue is real. I think society as a whole is there. We are just so unbelievably fed up with the ghetto ratchet behavior, entitlement, the victimhood, that they want to praise this woman.
And of course, the hellacious clapback that befell them from their very own.
Is black fatigue a real thing? You know me, I won't shy away from a conversation. And no, it's not.
Yeah, white fatigue is not fucking real. Of course it's not fucking real.
That white on white crime is something to see. It really is. It really is something to see. It's the stuff they never show on Newsmax or OAN.
Hey, remember this lady?
Black fatigue is real.
Her page is gone today. Just gone. It was definitely there yesterday, but when I went to look at it earlier this morning, it was no longer there, or at least I couldn't view it. Other people are saying the same thing. So either we've all been massively blocked, or that page is deleted. Either she deleted it, or she got banned. And I have to say, I'm curious which is the case. Because it certainly wasn't just me stitching this woman. I mean, a bunch of people were stitching and or downloading and then sharing her videos because of her take on this black fatigue she's claiming exists. And look, I never am one to wish harm on people or want to attack one individual person, but her takes were really dangerous. And I'm wondering if there were some sort of repercussions found already for her saying those things. She said on her page that she worked in education and was, I believe, a kindergarten teacher. And I know I, for one, was pretty concerned about a teacher having such very obviously racist ideas. Who knows? I thought that was kind of interesting and I wanted to point it out. Do not wish harm on her. That's just not in my nature. But I do hope perhaps this got her attention because she needs to deconstruct those biases that are making her so bitter. Not just for her sake, but obviously for the sake of people around her and her students.
So what you mean to tell me is that the lady who acknowledged the 5-year-old's behavior was age appropriate and then legitimized that as an excuse for people to be racist based on the behavior of a 5-year-old is around children. That is what you're telling me. Just in case you're wondering about, the next generation. Now I see, hey, Mothers for Liberty. Now I see why you're so concerned about the teachers and the education. Yeah. We got one over here. And by the way, I wouldn't worry about her page going down. I think she just got TikTok fatigue. Yeah, she got TikTok fatigue. Apparently she gets tired very easily. However, if you thought that black people were just going to let white people have all this fun, calling out races and knocking them upside the head with the English language like whack-a-mole, oh, you are sadly mistaken.
It is the funniest thing to me that we get on the internet today only to find out that the white people, white women particularly, but the white people have co-opted another term that is a black people term, not a white people term, not a society term, a black people term.
Now, I gave you the good news that there was no shortage of white people getting their own together, but they were not alone. Oh, hell no.
And that term is black fatigue. And they took it as to meaning, we as a society are tired of black people and what we think comes with black people, like ratchetness, ghetto-ness, brawlers, the victimhood, all of the things that they attribute to black folk as a whole. Got on the internet and said, we are tired, so we are calling this black fatigue because we're tired of black people. After, this, mind you, this comes after a white woman was called out for raising nearly $1 million for calling an autistic black child, most likely with a hard ER. But somehow, white people took this as an opportunity to tell us that they are tired of us. And so they co-opted yet another term. But what black fatigue actually means is that black people exist in this world, and that existence in the society that has been racialized and demonizes blackness is exhausting. It's exhausting existing in this type of world where anti-blackness runs rampant. Tired of living in a society that deems you ratchet, ghetto, and a victim when you say you are tired of dealing with racism. A system and society where we are unable to express our feelings and emotion without being labeled a perpetual victim. And now we got white people trying to victimize themselves because they are not allowed to be as racist as they would like to freely be allowed to be. And now they got black fatigue. Get the fuck out of my face.
Hydrattery, animalistic. This is why people have black fatigue.
So this is what we have to wake up to and talk about on a Saturday morning? Okay. When they said make America great again, I really didn't understand that we were going to be lifted up and transported back to like the 1800s. I think I missed that part of the conversation. She said that she's tired of, she has black fatigue. Y'all, that's like me telling someone that has a chronic disease or has cancer that I'm tired of them being sick. Them being sick and having to deal with their chronic illness is making me tired. Without even a thought about how it must feel for them to be the ones actually dealing with the disease. It's not normal to be the entitlement of it all, to have the boldness to stand 10 toes down with your shades on top of your head and say that you're tired of someone else's oppression, violence against them, systemic and systematic and consistent and continued racism. And she probably doesn't even think she's a racist. That's the hilarious gag. She says she's tired of brawls on cruise ships. I don't know what cruise ship she goes on, but I was tired of not only seeing a brawl at the White House, but having everybody that behaved in the thuggery, horrific ratchetness be pardoned. Because white violence is viewed completely different than black violence. White violence is almost always justified, and black violence almost never is. I mean, literally pardoned. These people took a poop. Now, you want to talk about what's gross and nasty and people not being accountable and what's thuggish behavior, baby. I don't know who raised you, but taking a poop on somebody's desk in their office is gross.
Black fatigue? This where we at now? Imagine how we feel. Y'all even colonized that. Like, black fatigue is not what y'all created it to be. It was the fatigue of black people having to exist in this country and dealing with all y'all dumb shit. We were tired, not y'all. Imagine telling the internet that you're tired of all the ghetto-ness and the ratchetness and all of the fights when y'all are quite literally the godfathers of violence in this country. And then all the ghetto and ratchet speak. Your kids are emulating exactly what we say and calling it Gen Alpha and Gen Z speak when it was just AAVE repackaged to be palatable for white people. What are we talking? Like, y'all are quite literally exhausting. But like, 8.5 by 11s are going to do this all the time. I'm not worried about the hueless. However, the black people getting on and co-signing the black fatigue to make white people feel better could not be me. I imagine agreeing with white people when they aren't even picking you. Super weird. But like, sure, being held accountable for your racist ideology. If I were white and I had to constantly hear that black people are right and then it proves out and you're sitting there being mad, yeah, I'd be mad too. I too would be annoyed if I were half the age of black women but looked twice as old as them. Yeah, I'd be pissed too. So like, hold your black fatigue and raise yourself some accountability. Because, happy Monday, y'all. Black fatigue, shut up.
They even got some love from the Latino community. They know what's up.
I'm not taking anything down. I'm not. This is my opinion. People we're fed up with it. We're fed up with this type of behavior coming from certain groups of people.
White racist people, listen to me. The only thing that you're fed up with is not with black people's behavior. It's that you can't get away anymore with putting them in their place. Whatever you think that place is, because you used to run shit in this country. White supremacy reigns supreme. It still does a little bit, but that's for another fucking TikTok. But now, you cannot send them to the back of the bus. You cannot give them that shitty position at their job. You cannot pay them less. So all of this shit is weighing heavily on all of you. We know this. We can fucking see it. It bothers you. And you want to go back to where those times were okay. Literally, that's the slogan to your fucking political party. Make America great again. Make it so that we can be racist assholes again with no consequence. With this administration and Stephen Miller and guys like Donald Trump, you're getting close to it. So you're feeling a little bit like emboldened. We understand that. But listen, here's the thing. There's more decent people in this country than assholes like you. Way more. There's just a lot of them stay home and didn't vote. But it doesn't mean they disappeared. So you're not going to do it. I'm telling you, look at me right now. We're not going to go back. Yeah, I know you think we're going to go back, but it's not going to happen. I promise you. No matter how many times Trump or Stephen Miller or any of these assholes tell you that it's okay. I think I went there.
All right. It's time to be real with you, because I said it was good news and bad news, right? I told you it's good news and bad news. So the good news was that it was no shortage of white people getting their own together about the racism of this hashtag. The bad news is this was like Christmas for Black Maga. Oh my goodness. You know what I mean? Oh my, you would have you would have thought that Judge Joe Brown was giving a toast at the Black Maga Black History Month event. You know what I mean? It's crazy. You would have think they just stripped all the black people out of the military the way they was excited to run to the... No, actually, no, that's not true, because they ain't saying nothing about that. You would think they would have got rid of the minority business development. No, because they didn't say nothing about that. They didn't. They've been kind of quiet lately. They've been real quiet. We didn't hear nothing about that. We didn't hear nothing. The civil rights cases, Department of Justice, we ain't hear nothing about that. The white South Africans, we haven't heard anything. Where's Black Maga been? That's crazy. I did not know. Black Maga went missing. Then all of a sudden they popped up to legitimize all this stuff with Shiloh Hendrix. And now they done formed like Voltron to go ham on this black fatigue issue. It's almost like they put a hologram in the air of Uncle Ben, and Black Magas just came calling.
Black fatigue. This video might make you uncomfortable, but it needs to be made. There's a growing sentiment, most recently, of individuals who are proclaiming they do have black fatigue. And you don't have to be a non-black person to have black fatigue. What does that phrase actually mean? Essentially, black fatigue is a growing weariness of the actions of the quote-unquote black community. But it goes deeper than that, because we are in 2025 now, and we are being judged based on the content of our character and not the color of our skin.
Hey, y'all hear that? Yeah, send the white South Africans back. Hey, send them back. Now, cause they got to stay in the same line with the Cubans and the Venezuelans. Because it's content of your character now. It's content of your character. And by the way, tell Elon Musk that we got to scrub most of those DEIs and hood rats and N-bombs that were directed at people of legitimate character. Yeah, because they just sent them because they were brown. You know what I mean? So we judge by the content of our character now. Because he just said. Honestly, this video actually, he said it was going to be uncomfortable, but it's not because I'm black. It's because of them sunglasses he got on. Apparently, that is the prerequisite to feel black fatigue.
But the interesting part is the lie that's been sold to the black community in particular is that the color of our skin dictates the content of our character. That's why in the Black community, sometimes you'll hear people say, oh, you are acting white, when they're talking to someone like myself who doesn't act the way most people would expect a conventional Black person to act.
Now, this is an interesting one. As somebody that has also received your acting white when I was growing up, where do you think that stems from? What do you think the idea of acting white stems from? Does it come from us? Does it come from us? We created the idea that that white people were had a special pass to proper society. We create the superiority of whites. We did that? I'm just curious. I'm very curious. And by the way, I would also add, I have heard that from lots of different kinds. I have heard that from white people for sure. What about that? I mean, are we addressing that? You got to take off the shades to address that. Okay, well, you take off the shades, we'll address that. Which, by the way, is the source. I'll answer the question. That is the source of acting white. Because I'm just so curious. I would love to know.
In their minds, there is a correct way to act Black. And the people in your ethnic group who fulfill those very negative stereotypes, those are the ones who are going to essentially drag down the collective whole. And that's why there's individuals who are Black who do and can have Black fatigue, because they see how damaging it is to see the worst of us attract all this negative attention that then unfortunately gets ascribed to the entire race all too often.
Now, I think we're going to land a plane on this a little bit more, but when it comes to the negative attention, the worst of us getting, this negative attention. So I'm just curious what we did to focus the attention on the worst of us, as opposed to, the people that are moving about freely. I'm wondering how our media controls have gotten so wayward. It's crazy. We lost control of the algorithm. It really blows my mind how we let our control of all digital, visual, and audio media go by the wayside. We never should have let that happen. No. And by the way, just to continue that point, you have to ask yourselves to what aim the focus and attention would be on a certain segment of the Black population, and what that would perpetuate amongst Black people. It's one thing for you to talk about the feelings that you have about a segment of the Black population, but when you confine the conversation to just that, and you don't want to tell the whole story, not the conditions that create it, nor the reasons why there's undue attention given, then it just becomes white supremacy. And now I see how you got your glasses. Now I got it.
But what's unfortunate is here in 2025, now we have to contend with the fact that there's people who are so sick and tired of seeing those negative aspects, those negative individuals in the Black community attracting all this attention. That's what is spurring this Black fatigue. I think it's something that needs to be talked about. And until we turn inward and address the issues in our own communities, I fear that this is only going to continue and get worse. And that's exactly what the powers that be want. They want to have us against each other instead of us against those who are really pulling the strings in the background.
Now, I do appreciate where you landed that about those that are pulling the strings in the background. That should have been something that was touched on far earlier. But I do want to take issue, because you talked about people get frustrated with these images that they see of Black people. That only works if they interact with other Black people in a functional and harmonious way. And I've already communicated just what the mentions of Black public figures looks like in today's day and age. So unfortunately, because we're in this business of talking about how, these folks have messed it up for these folks, right? When it comes to black people, I'm sorry, racist. I hate to do this to you, racist, but they went so overboard in their blatant racism, just being scattershot Uzi'd at just about anything that flunks the brown paper bag test, that you have now lost the ability to make it about anything else. Take it up with Nick Fuentes.
It is the yin to the yang of Black Lives Matter. It's white people loudly, boldly expressing their fatigue with black people. This is and was inevitable. And that's why I spent so much time during the whole Black Lives Matter psyop, about a decade, saying like, this is crazy. Black Lives Matters is going to create a boomerang effect. It's going to harden hearts. You're not going to host a decade-long discussion on social media and in mainstream media about how awful white people are and what victims we are. And oh my God, once every 3 or 4 months, there's a controversial police-involved shooting with a resisting career criminal. Black people behaving dysfunctionally, violently, inappropriately, not just in Spirit Airlines, Frontier Airlines, not just on Carnival cruises, but damn it, if you let them on Royal Caribbean, the same thing will happen there. You let them inside a Wendy's, the same thing will happen there.
And by the way, you are a token. Hey, Jason, you're a token. You are in conservative media as a black guy that can confer upon white people the dignity of not being called a racist for having their views.
And like I said, and going back to Whitlock, I don't think he can comment on anything but snacks.
Black fatigue is real. Everybody is tired of black people, but it's two specific types of black people that everyone is tired of.
Of course, your pick-me ass is going to agree with the black fatigue topic. I know you are. Every time you pop up on my feed, you're always being anti-black. It's like, sir, we know you don't love being black. We know that you want to paint your skin white and you want to dye your hair blonde and you want to pop in some blue eye contacts so you could be considered white. We know that.
So here's my honest opinion about black fatigue. Black fatigue actually exists. However, black fatigue does not exist in a way that a lot of non-black people think. It has nothing to do with race and everything to do with culture. It is the culture, the society, and the environment you are raised in. It has nothing to do with race, and it never was about race, because if it was about race, then every black person would be acting like that. Black fatigue is a poison well that is consumed by certain locations and environment. Another majorly important factor is accountability. If black people in general don't hold each other and others accountable for our and their actions, there will be no change within our communities. The destruction of property and violence, the need to be extremely fucking loud and ratchet for no reason. I've seen some of these videos from non-white people talking about the black fatigue, and they do have a point. And for the black people who are watching this, believe me, I did not want to hear any of this shit from non-black people. However, some of them, not all of them, because some of them were just straight up racist, but some of them had some solid points. When it comes to gentrification, credit score, stimulus check, lack of funding for black public schools and neighborhood, government, the CIA, United Healthcare, all of this was targeted towards the black community so we can end up how we are today. At this moment in 2025, the CIA and the government, they're running on autopilot because we're doing the work for them. They have done enough damage towards the black community that they can sit back, crack open a fucking beer, and watch us tear each other apart. The United States' greatest weapon they have on the black community is the black community not holding each other accountable for our actions. Truthfully, we need to start doing that more. We need to follow in our ancestors' footsteps, because what they had back then, they had it right. Not everything has to change and not everything has to be progressive. There are some things that they done in the past was better as it was, and that's completely fine. I am not saying we should just roll over and let them do what they want to do. Instead of only striving for black excellence, we should also strive for black power. Loud, the ratchet, the ghetto, the ignorant and uneducated. I have mutual love for them because they are my brothers and sisters. Even then, most of the time, I do not associate with them. But it's because of people like this that exist in our community that gets the spotlight and paints the picture of what black people seem like. They get all the attention. They always end up on the news. Why? It's because they cause a distraction. They cause a problem for other people. And you know who are the first ones to put us on the internet? You guessed it. The media. Hell, even our own people do it as well for clout, for fame, for money. They sell out our own people, make us look bad just to fill up their pockets. And that is another problem to address in our community. Stop labeling us and stop painting us negatively just to make yourself look better or richer. That is why, ladies and gentlemen, when people like this in our community gets the spotlight, many people automatically assume that we are a monolith and we act like them. It's either you are ghetto, loud, and trashy, or you are whitewashed. They never look in between the lines and understand that black people are completely far from a monolith and we can be absolutely anything we want. Every non-black person, and yes, that includes every person of color, they always go out of their way to tell us that they are not a monolith, that they are all different. We are too. But while we have our own issues, it's important to teach history, but it's also important that we do what we can to change what is happening now. That is all I have to say on the matter. This is Onyx, and I'll see you guys next time.
Now, I'm not mad at this. I'll be honest. I am not mad at this. A few things I did want to rebut, though, because once again, as I have outlined several times in this video, you acknowledge the litany of factors that black people have to contend with when it comes from escaping the poverty traps that are so ever present in America. And you talked about the many ways in which our lives are controlled externally, and you omitted the media. You omitted the litany of ways in which certain images are projected, which not only changes people's concept of who we are as a people, but even changes how they feel about themselves. And I would send you back to, as a bookmark, the acting white section of the conversation. Furthermore, and I do much as I appreciate how you acknowledge all the extenuating circumstances that befall all black people, but certainly black people that are in the working class and below. One thing that I've said repeatedly, anywhere where there is hopelessness, anywhere where there is lack of access to upward mobility, you will find crime. It doesn't matter the race. It doesn't matter the country. It doesn't matter the century. Any time in the history of human existence where people have felt a lack of hope and prevented from access to their cultural dream, because it wasn't always the American dream, could have been the Greek dream. It could have been the Turkish dream. It could have been the Zimbabwean dream. Whatever the case may be. What teenage dream? Could have been a teenage dream. I don't know. What if they don't have access to the dream, people get desperate and people will get violent. That's just how that goes. Now, I remember as a kid, I was probably like in grade school, I think. My dad showed me Boys in the Hood, and because he thought I should watch it. He thought it was an important movie to watch. Don't call CPS. I think the statute of limitations is up on that anyway. He showed me Boys in the Hood. I remember watching that movie and just thinking it was insane, like crazy, to live your life in a way where you go out and engage in behavior where you could die, you could be killed, you could not come home on any given day. Like it just this didn't make sense to just throw your life on the craps table like that. It did not make sense. And then I got older and I realized that I was living in a world and fortunately came from circumstances where I was expected to go to school and I was expected to go to college and I was expected to get a good job and I was expected to have a family. All these things I could see, right? I had the possibility. My life had value. I felt like my life had value, even given the obvious circumstances that were going to befall me as a Black professional. My life had value. If I didn't see those things, who knows how much my decision-making might change. I just outlined how it changes for people that are in that hopeless situation across the globe throughout history. Okay, so that's one thing to keep in mind. you talk about the fact of accountability, right? Accountability. And I acknowledge the need for accountability, for people to hold themselves accountable, for Black people to hold each other accountable. I think that is a real significant thing to take forward. However, you actually mentioned United Healthcare, which was curious. You mentioned United Healthcare and Luigi not being able to get proper treatment for his back was used as justification. People reached across the aisle, right? Across the aisle. We had a moment of class solidarity for Luigi because he couldn't get proper treatment for his back. That was used for people to justify him unaliving somebody. And in fact, people not obeying the proper norms, and you know, people behaving in a way in which made other people uncomfortable. That's what Daniel Penny used. That was justification he used to unalive somebody. And this whole case started with Shiloh Hendrix, who somehow you excused for slurring a 5-year-old boy. Our Secretary of Defense included a journalist in a sensitive group chat and attacked the journalist. Your whole far-right movement is led by Donald Trump, who has 34 felonies, 3 wives, and is about to go double-digit for bankruptcies, but to let him tell it, has never made a single mistake in his professional life. And y'all want to talk about accountability? Is that what we doing? Is that? Okay, is that what we're doing? Okay, because that was all perfectly okay, but all of the factors that you seeded, which I do appreciate that you seeded, is too much for somebody to be a little bit loud in public. I got you. Somebody be a little bit short at Costco, you know, dealing with all of that. I got it. So congratulations, Black MAGA, and there are a great number of you. You are our racists of the week. And by the way, by virtue of the fact that we haven't heard from you at all since February, why don't you take one for every single day since then? We just gonna send y'all a whole case. Don't worry, Officer Tatum can keep him in his house.
It's an opinion you have that might piss some people off.
I don't think white privilege is a thing. Hear me out. We live in a society where I can go into a store and steal something, get caught, and say the following: it's because I'm Black. That store is now canceled. That store is now labeled racist. And I made off with some free shit. I don't know. That sounds like some damn Black privilege to me, man. When have you ever seen a white dude get caught? Oh, it's because I'm white.
You can't save everybody. No, you can't save everybody. He's one of the ones Harriet would have left behind. We don't. If you say you got Black fatigue, you tired of him. I get it. I'm tired of him. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Don't forget to give us a like and a share if you are so inclined. And I know a number of you guys are not subscribed. And I know that because it tells me. I can go right there and it tells me how many are not subscribed. And I feel like if I'm subscribed to magazines in 2025, which was not intentional, I don't know why they be showing up to my house, but I am subscribed to magazines in 2025. I invite you to subscribe to the channel. It costs you nothing. All you got to do is hit the button.
I dare you. I double dare you, mother.
And I want to give a special shout out to all the members who joined our last members live. It was a bit impromptu last minute, but y'all showed up and showed out.
But then the early 90s, though. The early 90s. What you want to do with rayon? What you want to do with rayon party shirts? And hammer pants.
And if you want to join the fun, there is a link to membership in the description box to all the videos where you'll see options for shallow water and deep water and troubled water. You also have further options If you would like to get those benefits, they are also available in our newly launched Patreon, where you'll see Deep Water and Troubled Water, which offers all the same benefits of membership here on YouTube, but also includes the newsletter, Wednesday Waters, which goes out once a week, as well as our community chats. And let me say, I had no idea how much y'all were into gardening till I got on those community chats. It's basically like a premier chat that never ends. You can sign up for that at patreon.com/Reese Waters. And last but not least, I want to show some love, as I've done the last few weeks, starting with Dank and then Deshauna and City Dawn, to my girl Roberta, who sent me this photo of her and her crispy, discouraged, depleted, but never defeated t-shirt, which I thought was a message that probably described how I came into this new Trump administration.
God, if you listen, hell, I can't take it no more.
And yet we soldier on. You can catch that as well as a lot more other options of merch available on my website, reesewaters.com. But I gotta thank Roberta as well as all of you for showing so much love to the channel.